We're back. College football 59 days away. That's what, 8 weeks?
You can count that high?
I can count that high. 8 weeks. You weren't good at math? I was.
No, negative.
So,
I was getting tutored in 8th grade.
I'm going to throw a curveball at you first. That's not something to brag about. You look so proud when you said that.
I had help.
8 weeks away. We're going to go with DBs this week. We're going right up your alley. But I'm going to throw something else, a little curveball. We're going to do the next 3 weeks.
Okay.
Top 5 games in the SEC. We're gonna go this week. We're gonna go non-rivals,
Okay.
which I consider not your top 2 rivals. So Florida would be Georgia and Tennessee,
Okay.
or Florida State, not LSU. Auburn would be Alabama and Georgia. So outside of the top 2 rivals, everybody can say I got rivals everywhere. You don't. Alabama Georgia is not a rivalry. Alabama Auburn, Alabama Tennessee, Alabama LSU. And then next week we're going to do non-conference top 5, and the week after that we'll do our rival top 5.
Okay.
All right.
So basically, if they haven't named this rivalry, like if there's not a fun name for it, you don't consider it a rivalry.
Pretty much.
Gotcha.
Speaking of, are we off next week for the 4th of July?
Probably not, because we were off this past week from a beach trip.
So when what if I want to make a beach trip for the 4th of July?
We'll travel with you.
Okay.
I will be there with you. We'll record on the beach.
Why are you setting up?
I get a vacation.
All right, so we're going to do top 5 non-rival SEC games. I'll go first. Number 5, Oklahoma at Auburn. This game is in September. It's an early game. Oklahoma's got a new quarterback. Auburn's got Oklahoma's old quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is going to be an early test for both teams to show, hey, who's going to be the one that kind of steps into that next tier of a good season. Like, I think both these teams were average teams last year that had big wins at some point. Who's going to step up and be in the next tier of, like, really good, make a New Year's Eve bowl or make a possible playoff run? Because I think both these teams have the talent. That's why it's my number 5. Number 4, Alabama at South Carolina. Lenore Sellers, I think he's a Heisman frontrunner this year. They play a couple big games before, but I think Alabama going to South Carolina, where they have had trouble in the past, I think that's a big, big game for South Carolina at home. I wouldn't say early upset quite yet, but that's just going to be a really big game for South Carolina and Alabama. Florida at LSU, September 13th. Florida plays Miami before. That's a non-conference game that may be on my week next week. Florida at LSU. I think both these teams kind of in the same deal as Oklahoma and Auburn. Mm-hmm. Who's going to step into that next tier? Both of them have really good quarterbacks. Who are going to be the guys around them to follow them since they've lost so much to the NFL? Texas at Georgia. I don't think you need to even explain that. That's a monster game in November. They played last year for the SEC Championship game. This is the rematch. It's at Georgia. Texas is going to have to really bring it. I know they're probably your favorite to win it all. They got to win that game. And then Alabama at Georgia. The rematch from the Classic. It's between the hedges. Georgia's looking to get a little bit of... Bama's got a tough schedule. Yeah. I think those 2 games I have in here are going to be tough. They got to play Auburn 2, Tennessee 2, LSU 2. That game right there in September, early September at Georgia, Georgia's going to be out for blood. They have a new quarterback. I think Bama has got a new quarterback. No, I don't think. I know Bama's got a new quarterback. So that's my top 5. What about you?
I'm going to go with, let's start with my 5th. And I based mine off of what I think is going to be the more exciting nail-biter games.
Gotcha. Okay,
yours obviously have more implications on who's going to win the SEC Championship and further. A few of mine are that way, obviously, but mine are, I think, what's going to be more nail-biters. Okay. Oklahoma at Alabama. I think Oklahoma's run game against Alabama's defense is going to be an incredible matchup. It's going to be a lower scoring game than most SEC games.
Is the revenge factor not in there from them losing at Oklahoma last year? Do you think that?
Probably so, but I don't know. Are you saying making it more of a rivalry game?
No. I'm talking about the fact that Bama's going to look for blood and they're going to make.
Oh, I do think they'll look for blood, but again,
do you think Oklahoma's probably a better team than what they were last year? I think they are.
I think offensively, yes.
Okay.
Defensively, they're going to have to prove themselves against Alabama's offense. Next, I've got Texas at Florida, man. I think that's going to be an incredible game because you've got the Swamp, and you've got probably the best team in the SEC coming there.
Yeah.
And it's their first time in the Swamp, right?
First time in the Swamp, and they railroaded Florida last year without Lagway.
Yes,
they played or Mertz.
Yes.
They played their 3rd-string quarterback and got railroaded. That's probably going to be a night game too.
It still says TBD. So I think that all the networks know or I guess ESPN probably has the rights to that one, or CBS. But I think the networks know that's going to be a key game as long as people are healthy and all that stuff. Yeah. So I think that one, I couldn't believe you left it off your list.
I just, I didn't. It's in October. I think there's a lot more games to be decided for Florida before then.
Gotcha.
Because if they go out and they lose to LSU, they lose to Miami, that game doesn't have the pop that I think that some of these earlier games. I kind of went earlier games outside of the game in October between Alabama and South Carolina.
Exactly. And again, you did it because of implications.
Yeah.
And Texas and Florida, I think it's just going to be a good game.
Okay. All right.
Florida at LSU, September 30th.
So same as me.
I agree with you on that one. I think it's going to be awesome. You've got both teams from two of the best stadiums, and you got them at Death Valley this time. But
with two good quarterbacks.
I think the fan bases are going to be on full force. It's going to be an awesome night.
Last time two quarterbacks like this faced off in Death Valley, it was Joe Burrow and Trask, and they put on a show. So hopefully this will be the same thing.
That would be really good to see. Then I've got, for my second one, Alabama at Georgia, September 27th. I think I'm agreeing with you. I think that one's going to have huge implications, only if Georgia can prove to be the same Georgia. That's going to be
what do you think the line will be in that Bama-Georgia game?
I would say the over-under will probably be at 60.
Okay. And
I would say the line is probably going to be 9.
Georgia favored by 9?
I don't know, honestly. I'm just going to give the 9. I don't know who's favored.
9. I thought you had some sort of
I really don't think it's going to come down to a field goal or anything.
Okay,
I think it's going to come down to having to score and still fight. All right, my favorite, Oklahoma-Auburn. This is soon to be a rivalry game.
Okay.
It'll become one in the next 10
You think
years.
so?
Yes. It'll be some type of down the river plains or something.
Yeah.
It'll get a stupid name probably. But I think this is going to be a heck of a game because you've got Auburn, who's always the scrappiest defense in the SEC, I feel like. And then you've got one of the best run games from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
It's going to be a heck of a game. I'm excited for that one. Like I said, I think it's going to go down to the wire.
Well, they also took the other team's quarterback.
Yes.
I think that's...
So I think you're also going to see if, what's his name for Auburn?
Jackson
Arnold. If he was beating up on all these corners in scout practice and stuff like that, if he knows all their weaknesses and stuff. So I think that might come into play too. But again, it's going to be our defense that I think makes that difference.
Okay.
All right. That's my list for those 5.
All right. Defensive backs, your position. The list is not as star-studded as it probably would be in the past. Obviously, I think one of the best defensive backs in the country was in the SEC, but now plays for Ohio State, and Caleb Downs.
Yeah.
He would be probably number 1 on my list. Make a quick run through my list. I will mention, these are 2 guys that are not starting on the depth chart, but I think are former strainer for Auburn. He came from, I think, UL Lafayette. Mm-hmm. He was a big-time player for them. I'm hearing a lot of good things. Some people have him as one of the best defensive backs in the country. And then Cormani McClain, former 5-star. Yep. Went to Colorado, didn't make it there, came to Florida last year. He is bulkier. He had a pick 6 to end the year. He's got his head on right. That he could be number 1 or 2 on this list by the end of the year if he really gets his opportunities. And he's not a starter yet, but I think he will be. Jalen Kilgore from South Carolina. He's a great player. I think he's going to be all over the football this year for South Carolina. I got him at 10. Eli Bowen for Oklahoma. He better have a big year for Oklahoma if they're going to be good. I think he's one of the few guys returning for them that's going to be a playmaker. Oklahoma's going to have a good defense. I'm talking about in the secondary returning. But overall defense, they're going to be really good.
Yeah, very good.
Jay Crawford for Auburn. He quietly was one of the best defensive backs all last year. I look back at his stats. He barely gave up any catches.
Yep.
So he, to me, could probably be higher on this list.
Oh, he is for me.
Xavier Brown, the big pick against Georgia to win the game. I think he comes off a big monster freshman year, becomes Bama's lockdown corner. I got him at number 7. KJ Bolden, we know he's a great player. Mm-hmm. Him and Everett are both, I got Everett at 3, Bolden at 6. Bolden only had 1 pick and 1 pass defended, but 59 tackles. Everett had 3 interceptions, 58 tackles. That's why Everett, I got him a little bit higher on my list than Bolden. Will Lee's at 5, A&M. Will Lee's a player, man. He obviously he's a transfer that came in, but I think he's going to make a big impact for
A&M.
A&M, yes. And he came from, if I'm not mistaken, let me see, hold on a second.
Here we go.
Let's see, I got it right here. Kansas State. No, he did play for A&M last year. I'm sorry.
He did play.
He came from Kansas State, but he's going to be a junior, 6'3", 190. Like, he is big.
Mm-hmm.
And not saying quite Sean Taylor-esque, but 6'3", that's a big old DB. Malik Muhammad from Texas. Mm-hmm. I think him and Tuafe, I think that's how you pronounce it. Tuafe, yes. Yeah. That's the best DB tandem in the SEC. Malik doesn't have quite the stats that Tuafe has.
Oh, but Malik's good. You see the players he's covered.
Very good. Everett 3, Tuafe 2, and then Jamal McCoy for Tennessee. I think he's the best DB, and will go the highest in the draft. He to me is the best returning guy. I really don't. I like these other guys, and obviously Downs, but McCoy is to me 4 interceptions, 12 passes defended. That's really good. And we don't have really a guy in the SEC returning that has that good of stats.
Yeah.
44 tackles as well. So he's number 1 on my list.
Okay.
So.
And I like that he is number 1 on your list. I pulled him down a little bit just because I don't think Tennessee's going to have as good a season this year. So I think it's going to affect his stats. Because if teams are going to start beating them, they're going to attack other areas.
Gotcha.
All right, so start with mine. I liked seeing him in your honorable mentions, Kamani McLean. I think he is going to make his way up to a starter. So I have him at 10. And I think he went to Colorado for the hype. I think he's a better player than what he could have done there. Eli Bowen, I agree with you, at 9, Oklahoma. KJ Bolden, I brought down from your list. I believe I know he's good. I've seen it, but I just believe that Georgia's defense is not going to be in the same caliber.
Yeah.
Xavier Brown, Alabama. I don't remember much of him last year. Which side was?
Remember, he's got to have the pick against Georgia at the very end.
Okay. So I was going through the list, and I remembered hearing him, but I don't remember much of his stats. I agree with you on having him around there. I put him down at my 7. For number 6, Will Lee from Texas A&M.
So in your he had 3 picks, only 14 tackles, and 2 pass deflections.
Who's Xavier?
Xavier.
Okay.
One was a big pick, but he's only going to be a sophomore next year. So yeah.
Okay. So then he's still in the top 10, so he'll move up. Will Lee, I have him at Texas A&M at 6. I put Crawford up at 5. It's hard for me to not even put him higher, but it's because I think these other guys are just going to have to prove themselves this year above me, and they will. Jamal McCoy at Tennessee, I put him at 4. Like I said, I think Tennessee is going to have more of a struggling year because of their whole quarterback situation and everything else. So I think he's going to pull down on that list. Malik Muhammad at 3. I think he's an unbelievable corner, and if it wasn't for Tuafe, Malik would probably be the best in Texas and probably move up to number 1. Dalen Everett from Georgia, unbelievable corner. Mm-hmm. He's going to do wonderful things for them.
Yeah.
So, is he a junior?
Malik's only going to be a sophomore. He just didn't have any picks last year. I mean, he's going to be a junior. I'm sorry.
Okay, he's going to be a junior.
Malik is, but he just didn't have any picks last year. I think that was the big thing to me of like, man, like.
How many passes deflected did he have?
8.
So, off how many?
Maybe not thrown to a bunch.
That's what I'm thinking.
But he's had 0 picks. I'm sorry, he had 1 pick as a freshman. So that to me, I think it was more of the lines of why I didn't have him higher on my list than what
I got you. And then for my number 1, Tuafe. He's arguably the best corner, but like you said, he's on a team with Muhammad, so it's hard to have a elite number 1.
Is this just because he reminds you of you, and that you just think he's just he is around the ball a lot. Had 5 picks in the last 2 years, 60. But he had 78 tackles. That to me, I think why you like him.
He's more of a strong safety type. I love how physical he is. That's
40 solo tackles, 10 passes deflected, 78 total tackles.
He's unreal. But again, that might be different this year when teams start trying Muhammad's side more or something like that. Like, we'll see. But
I mean, he plays more of a safety type.
Yeah, he's more of that star, and that's why he's around the ball a lot more because he's on the inside.
Tell me this right here. You keep going back to Texas being your favorite.
Oh, they're going to win.
But I got these lists, and you got these lists, and we have 2 or 3 guys, 2 guys at least every time from their team. How talented is this team going to be?
I've made the point that this is going to be how Alabama was for a little while.
Okay.
Like when we talked about, did you see that quarterback and running back room for those years when they had Jalen Hurts, Tua, and Mack? And then for the running backs, they had Henry, what's his name, and help me out. the Steelers running back.
Najee Harris
and
Yeldon and all those guys.
Yeah, TJ Yeldon. That was like quarterback and running back for those years being in that room. I think Texas is building that as well. They might not be able to keep all these players to their senior year, but they're going to keep recruits coming in from the state of Texas and all around.
I mean, they said just last week, 2 linebackers, Texas. 26. What episode 26? We had. We did coaches. They got a top coach. Like,
well, they better have a top coach.
25. We did receivers. No receivers. Oh yeah, they Wingo. So they have one receiver, but it just seems like
they're 2 receivers.
This defense, I think their defense could be one of the best defenses in the SEC in a long time. So
and they probably have the receivers to replace who they lost.
Probably so. So well, that's a good top 10. This is, I mean, again, next week 52. If you let me have the week off, we could be at 40.
We can have the week
45 days till football. So we're right around the corner, excited.
Yeah, we can have the week off.
Look at this guy, best boss ever.
I'll take another trip.
Oh gosh. All right, but yeah, I think we're probably we're gonna go defensive linemen, pass rushers. Auburn's got a few down there. Bama's got a few too. So we'll do defensive linemen next time, and then we'll do top 5 non-conference games. I saw you circling Clemson and was it Georgia?
It was LSU Clemson. It was LSU Clemson in week 1.
LSU Clemson week 1. Okay, wow.
It's that Thursday night, is it not?
There's some good non-conference games I've already seen. Miami plays Florida.
So yeah, Thursday night is.
Was it LSU Clemson?
Was it? I thought it was. Hold on, or is it Friday?
Tennessee, Texas, Ohio State. That's got to be on the list. That's going to be a monster game. Bama plays Florida State. I think it's going to be on that Monday, Chance.
LSU Clemson.
Clemson. Wow. So you got the first week. You have Alabama, Florida State, LSU Clemson,
Florida Atlantic, or Florida Atlantic at Florida.
and Texas, Ohio State. Like
that. It's going to be a heck of a start off to the football season.
Yeah.
A lot of gambling going on, I'm sure.
Tide Tigers.